Two guys and a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide. Two guys and a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
What's a blerd? That's a black guy who's also a nerd. Reading comics, watching anime. Haven't you heard? It's Jeremy J and Miriam talking to Delirium. Naruto, then Marvel, then DC. Are you hearing him? Pop culture reverends pull them out periodically. We sing of movies with the comics canonically, and we watch a lot of TV. It's our virtual reality. I guarantee one day we'll have a TV show on NBC.
Two guys and a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide. Two guys and a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
It's the Blerd Survival Guide. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
On your marks. Get set.
Welcome
back, everybody.
welcome back to another episode of Blerd Survival Guide. I'm your co-host Jeremy.
I'm your co-host Jay.
And welcome to another episode of Blerd Survival Guide. I'm going to stop numbering these on the podcast.
Proud of you because we're doing this. We're in it for the long haul.
We're in it. We went past 20 and we're...
You know, I think if we had maybe originally kept count of the episodes on like the titles, we would have been in good shape for, a 500th episode. But that's a ways away, and that's okay.
Yeah. But anyways, Jay, how are you today?
I'm feeling good, man. Had a good weekend. Really enjoyed some time with you and John and Miriam, and my mom actually graduated from her rehab this weekend, so that's really cool.
Congrats.
Awesome. It's quite an accomplishment to,
of course,
overcome your addiction and to plunge yourself into recovery, so I'm very proud of her. But that has got me in a pretty good mood to do a podcast.
Nice.
How are you? What have you been up to?
I've been,
same old.
Grinding at the warehouse, doing the thing. Like you all know, listeners, that we do record this on Sunday. I did go and watch the new James Gunn, The Suicide Squad movie today. I saw it in theaters.
So it's not Suicide Squad, it's The Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Which I watched it too on HBO Max.
Yes, not a sponsor, but please sponsor us.
But I first and foremost, I think that it's really I love that they stayed true to the opening and the beginning. But you talk about The Suicide Squad. I liked how they kind of labeled who actually was the Suicide Squad in the movie.
Yeah, because things pop off rather quickly.
They stayed true to form from the original.
Oh yeah, and I mean they stayed true to form to the comics,
gorgeously. I mean, the canonical nature of it.
Even Rick Flagg's costume, because apparently in the comics he wears a yellow shirt and like combat pants and all that. We ain't got no spoilers.
Spoilers.
We'll probably talk about it next week we'll do a spoiler review next week.
But what I really did enjoy was like it did feel like I was watching a moving comic.
Definitely. Like
how they
shots,
transitioned, how they
shots,
I guess the captioning elements that were in it,
that was so creative. The way,
they
was like 3 days ago, and then now, and then like Operation Harley and all that. Yeah,
exactly. Like how they, and I mean, it kind of. Hear me out. It kind of felt like when you're watching the Snyder Cut and how it would be like part 6, part 5, part 4.
But
obviously it's not a 4-hour long movie.
But also like I said, James Gunn, he did the damn thing on this movie, straight up.
I think it's a really wonderful retelling. I think it's a really funny retelling. I think that it accurately builds, right? Like it continues the positives of the DC cinematic universe.
Yes, it is. I told John this earlier once I got back home that it's probably one of the best comic book movies I've seen in a hot minute.
I hear that. And I hear where you're coming from.
It's we can go on about about this conversation, but that's not today's topic of conversation. What are we talking about today?
We are going to get into a wonderful discussion about our favorite as a continuation of last week, more of a follow-up, if you will, of our favorite underdogs, our favorite underdog heroes in cinema, in television, in comic books, or
etc.
etc. And I hope that our listeners will get a chance to tell us some of their favorite underdogs, our favorite underdog heroes. I think that the thing about this topic is I think that every most popular hero at one point in time is an underdog.
I mean, that's kind of what builds them to become the hero that they need to be.
Right.
They are faced with this adversity of the villains. Like, and by the way, if you haven't heard the villain podcast that we did last week, definitely check it out. But definitely with those villains, with their whole spiel and everything, wanting to take over the world and everything, that sets up a long list of problems and issues that we got to deal with being a hero and being an underdog, and that can sometimes go from personal all the way up to not so personal, just we need to straight up save the world.
It just reminds me of Deadpool. Like it's it's such the second movie in particular.
Okay.
When what's his name, the Steel guy? We know who I'm talking about. We know who I'm talking about. But he tells Deadpool, like, there's one moment. Colossus. Yes, Colossus. Nice. Good job. You didn't even have to look it up. When Colossus tells Deadpool that there's one moment between being a villain and a hero, right? Like, and for every hero, there's like a underdog story.
Right.
Which for every villain, there's an underdog story. But the only difference is that deciding moment. Right?
Yeah,
like at that moment, like where you choose to either be a villain
or
a hero.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that it when we're talking, it's a proper follow-up because like there is that defining moment, and you have to acknowledge that both the hero, the underdog, and the villain are all going. Well, I guess it's safe to say that we say hero or villain because they were both underdogs at some point.
Right. I mean, you do have like little sub factions like anti-heroes and
definitely.
I mean, that's little.
Yeah.
I mean, like Deadpool will probably be the only one that's under like the under that line.
I mean, he definitely he teeters. Obviously, you have the anti-hero would be the one that teeters that line between villainy and being the underdog.
I mean, he's
right?
literally Merc with a mouth. That is his tagline. He's a mercenary with a mouth
and a heart, but he doesn't choose to acknowledge his heart. It seems, but
it does regenerate.
So yeah, like that's kind of what I think of when I think of my favorite underdog is an underdog that ends up choosing heroism, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a true underdog. Does like you said with him having that point of either being a hero or a villain, like when they choose that moment of being a hero, it just that ties in the story, that ties the story all up together.
True. Nicely
too. That just like makes for great characterization of a hero and things like that.
And that's kind of the I guess hallmark of the hero, right? Like they choose the more difficult thing often, or like what's perceived to be.
Right. I mean, it's always like a question of ethics, but also like what are your morals stand on stuff like that. And if you want to be a hero, of course you have to have some good morals about you and grow up in a great family. But sometimes villains can grow up in a great family and still become the villain. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. What we can do now is probably talk about some of our favorite underdogs that we've seen in TV and books and movies and whatnot and so forth. I guess to start us off, I would say Morty from Rick and Morty.
Morty's a great underdog.
Yeah, I mean, and this is...
And he walks the line between villainy and hero, but he's definitely a constant underdog.
Yeah, because he's definitely the moral stand for Rick when it comes to him trying to stay on these adventures, but also not destroying planet after universe after galaxy.
Until the influence of Rick just overwhelms Morty, and he has no problem desolating an entire civilization for a bottle of wine.
Yeah, either that or for shits and giggles. I forgot.
Entertainment purposes.
Oh yeah, the episode where like they had the things on their faces.
Yeah.
They didn't want to make the 9/11 jokes. They did it. It's like, we're going to do a Pearl Harbor instead.
Oh,
destroyed.
man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And well, that's for humor's sake, I guess.
yeah, but it's still teetering that line of morality. It was like, am I a good guy or am I a bad guy? And with Morty, that really there is no definition. There's a theory that like Morty is just a younger version of Rick.
And I think that can hold true.
It's a whole circle of life kind of thing. It's like every Rick has a Morty, but every Morty grows up to be a Rick, so that every Rick can have a Morty.
Exactly, it's a full cycle, and maybe the Citadel of Ricks has come to that conclusion, and that's why they're just farming Mortys through the system.
We still got to figure out what's going to happen with evil Morty, but that's beside the point.
Well, that's a different kind of Morty. He's a different kind of Morty.
Different Morty. What about you, Jay?
So like you kind of sparked an idea for me, and I originally was going to say Naruto, but I think I'm going to change it because within Naruto's universe there is a greater underdog who deserves my respect. Rock Lee.
Ooh, Rock Lee.
You know, Rock Lee is the icon that I firmly believe deserves his own show. Well, he doesn't have his own show.
He does.
He has Rock Lee and Friends,
Yeah.
and I mean, you can watch that if you will, but I've tried, and it doesn't necessarily scratch the itch that Boruto does. That Naruto, just left a hole in my heart for once it ended. But nah, dude, Rock Lee is top 10, top 5. Top 3 favorite underdogs, just because I fully believe that if Naruto wasn't the star of the show, it would be Rock Lee.
I mean, dude comes in not having any ninjutsu.
No ninjutsu,
only has
no
taijutsu.
only taijutsu, and learns to be the OP, like the
opening all the gates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's by pure force of will and hard work that he manages to become a great ninja.
And that's literally all he does throughout the show. You see his episodes throughout Naruto is either him training or him fighting. And
exactly.
That's
exactly.
Really, that's his.
I mean,
that's
even
his
when
art.
he's healing, the man is training. Like he's either training his mind, he's either training his body.
I mean, if he has one bone that's not broken, he will train that bone until it's the strongest bone in his body.
Precisely.
That is Rock
Precisely.
Lee
That's his mentality.
to a
man.
T.
The spirit of youth is strong within him.
Youth. Good
But
old.
yeah, that's my. I mean, I could go on and on about Rock Lee, and I genuinely believe that what he offers and brings to the show is nothing short of what makes it a perfect TV series, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of fleshed out characters that like we can get into on Naruto. We haven't done an Naruto episode, which we definitely need to do now that we're all caught up. We're all at great points. I haven't watched a new episode of Boruto yet, but
That's okay. I haven't watched this week's new episode
yeah,
either.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
But my next person on the list, and we did have a list planned out beforehand, but this one's not on here yet. Steven Universe. And, I love talking about Steven Universe.
Yes, you do.
And
he's definitely an underdog. Among the gems, are you kidding me?
This kid was born with powers that he had no intent of using, had no power, no idea of.
He just knew that he had a diamond in his or a gem in his belly.
Yeah. He didn't even know it was a diamond until literally like later on towards the end of the series.
Ah.
Yeah, no, that's a whole arc.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just kind of may have said
he just knew it was a gem because he knew his mom's name was Rose Quartz. He thought it was a Rose Quartz gem.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But it's a diamond? It's a red diamond?
It's a pink diamond.
Oh.
Yeah, his mom is Pink Diamond. The diamonds are basically like the royalty of Homeworld, which is the planet that the gems come from.
That makes sense.
And they what they generally are, they're basically, like I said, they're basically the queens. So you have Pink Diamond, who's the youngest and the smallest. That's where Steven came from.
Okay.
You have Yellow Diamond, who's like the military general. You also have Blue Diamond, who's almost like the emotional middle child.
Okay.
Yeah, and then White Diamond, who's actually like the leader of the diamonds. So the diamonds are the leaders.
Racism.
But what are you gonna do? But no, she's supposed to be like this pristine,
sure,
leader of leaders type deal. Yeah. But Steven,
I need a black diamond though. Real talk. That sounds dope. I'm just saying.
You're right.
I'm just saying.
If the show was still on, I wish it would have been a black diamond. It probably would have been a villain, but.
Yeah, that would make too much sense. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, colorism.
Yeah. But no, yeah, Steven Universe, just to backtrack, he, like I said, he goes from this kid who knows nothing about his powers, only that he has a gem in his stomach, to being the most badass half gem, half human hybrid that we've ever come to know and love, with also being a very talented musician. Yeah. But that's my number 2.
So I feel like I'm gonna trend on so much towards so many anime and manga. So this is gonna be how that goes, and I'm proud to say it. I'm gonna say my number 2 is Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
I mean, as far as as far as we know right now, Tanjiro came from
he came from nothing. A nothing family. All he did was sell wood to people.
Exactly.
Barely got
So
anything
cold.
And walked up a mountain.
Exactly. And he just trained his butt off in order to be a great hero, in order to save his sister, in order to, restore her to humanity, as opposed to being a demon.
Save her from the clutches of the evil Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, like, real talk. I mean, I think that there are some theories out there that his father was, and I'm pretty sure it's in the manga. I haven't read the entire manga, but his dad was like this legendary swordsman, and this man was like
knows how to fire dance.
Well, the thing about the fire dance is, it seems it was a technique
for
swordsmanship,
had
right?
to be
like
for the Demon Slayer.
but we don't know that yet. It's not in the anime. I mean, I haven't read the manga, so I've just heard rumors. But
we shall see.
I firmly think that as a underdog, this man comes. It humbles him, right? It builds that humility that is lacking within the Demon Slayer core, and that's genuinely what makes him one of my favorite. My favorite underdogs.
Nice.
The humility is always like the big thing for me within my favorite underdogs.
Yeah,
I think that those that are the most humble genuinely like evoke the happiest emotion for me when they're successful.
Yeah. Nah, man. He basically hits home on a lot, and you definitely see that throughout the first season and in the movie. Like,
right,
dude does what he needs to do to make things right.
Exactly. To lead.
Yeah. Moving on. You guys know I'm a big Disney guy, cartoons, whatnot. My next one is going to be Hercules.
Oh,
Hercules, yeah.
Hercules.
I mean,
who puts the gladiator?
Hercules. He literally. I mean, was an underdog. He was the tiniest
the demigod that doesn't know he's a demigod.
Right, tiny man, but strength of 10,000 men.
Right,
trains to become the warrior that battles all these trials of
fearsome
Hercules.
beasts.
Yeah, and I remember during that song, the whole montage of him actually doing the trials of Hercules.
Right,
like you're reading in the
actual story.
Yeah, the Greek epic is like you see, because I forgot there was a scene where he's scooping up horse manure. Mm-hmm. That was one of his trials. Like he had to clean up a horse stable.
Oh, that's cool. Who would have thought?
Yeah, no, they were more true to his life than we thought. Mm-hmm. Like all the beasts that he fought were like
the Taurus, the Hydra,
all of those. But yeah, no, his whole story. You guys know the story of Hercules. If not, read a book and or watch the movie.
But or whatever you do, maybe don't. Have you seen the Rock version of Hercules? Because they came out with like 2 live actions
literally at the same time. It was like it was like Hercules and then the Legend of Hercules. I think I did.
I have a vague memory of it. I don't think I enjoyed it.
I think I'm on the same line because I think we were in high school. I went and saw it with my step team at church. And that was, I don't remember that movie. I think I fell asleep and we saw it in theaters and. Oh wow!
That's one of the things about those historical dramas, like that were based off of mythology, like Troy or whatever. They always have like this lulling music that just allows you to just fall asleep in the middle of the movie. I swear to God, like that's why Lord of the Rings is one of the easiest movies in the world for me to fall asleep to, is because they have like those long scenes where no one's talking, music in the background, and everybody just ends up dozing off so steadily because it's just so peaceful, and then it just like bursts on to a war scene, and you're just like, oh, I'm paying attention. Like, I swear to God, I was paying attention the whole time.
Hey, wake up! You're listening to a podcast. Wake up! But no, that's exactly how it goes.
Fun rant about that one.
Yeah.
I mean, but genuinely one of my favorite things.
Disney's Hercules is my favorite dog, if we want to be specific.
So my next on my list is 100% Deku from My Hero Academia. Which, I mean, if no one's checked out My Hero Academia yet at this point, you're missing out. And I certainly hope that you'll you check it out. And it's on Hulu. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Yeah, but it's dubbed for those who don't like sub. It's dubbed all the way up through season 4.
I enjoy the dub.
It's a pretty good dub. It's on par with Naruto and Demon Slayer.
I mean, it's not on par with Demon Slayer, but it's still a good dub.
Demon Slayer is just a whole nother level, okay?
Deku, his hero story is great because at the end of it he is going to be the greatest hero but he starts out with not having a quirk, which is the powers in this universe. They're just superpowers. People are born with them. So majority of actually the world are born with a quirk, and Deku is obviously someone that isn't born with that. And then he is given a quirk by All Might, and I think that is one of the coolest things because it's just like.
It's the one for all, right?
Yeah, it's one for all.
To go back and forth.
One for all. All for one is the
villain, the main villain. Yeah.
And his quirk is so cool because it's like it's a quirk that's passed from person to person. They get stronger every single time someone ends up getting the quirk, and so it builds on the powers of the different individuals. His quirk.
Good Lord, this man is gonna be.
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope, and he's allegedly like the last person to ever have to have this quirk
so
because there's a greater purpose for it. This is all in the more recent season, by the way.
Okay, I'm on season. I just looked on Hulu. I finished season 3. I'm on season 4. So
yeah, they're dubbing. I watched the sub season, which I think is season 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think that watching him learn how to master this quirk and learn how to become the greatest hero of all time.
I mean, he started out literally when he got the quirk, all he could do was flick and he would break his arm.
Exactly. Like, he would destroy his body. This man...
I forgot what movie we saw
with him. It was the one where he goes to the island, right?
Yeah, and...
I think it's called Hero Island.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
But I mean, we're getting up to that point. I mean, he's at that point where he's trained enough to... He can do the
jump style, like where he can kick with it.
He can do that, but also the one where he's the United States of Smash. He can do that. Yeah, he can do that with.
Okay.
No, he was able to do Detroit Smash, and All Might did the United States of Smash.
Because that's the fight.
Yeah.
You saw the battle with All for One. You saw the battle with All for One. Yeah, great fight. Yeah. Great fight. But yeah, I think that he's my number 3 just because of what he starts out as a normal human being and then is given this quirk that he then has to master, which I love My Hero Academia for so many reasons, and that's kind of like today, like giving a kid that is in poverty like a chance. Like here's a scholarship, and you can go and try to make a name for yourself and like have a difference in society. So that's kind of the metaphor that I take from
hits in your heart.
Yeah, so it's a good feelsy thing.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to spitfire these last 2 of mine that I'm going to do for the episode. One real quick, and I'm partial to this because it's one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. We talked about his villain in the video game last week, Spider-Man. Spider-Man, of course. Like Deku, of course. Grew up, no powers, got bit by a radioactive spider.
Right.
Decides to save the world after his uncle is killed, but he does use,
or at least the neighborhood.
Yeah, at least the neighborhood. Yeah, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He uses that power for good rather than he could definitely do a whole bunch of bad.
Right.
With his spider powers, and just the adventures that he's gone on, all the way up through like the movies that we've seen with Tobey Maguire, with Andrew Garfield, and now with Tom Holland. It's great seeing these different iterations of Spider-Man and how you have this nobody nerdy guy get these extraordinary powers and use them extraordinarily.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Amazingly, if you will.
Superiorly. And then my last one is Marty McFly from my all-time favorite movie, Back to the Future.
Great.
My kid is he's just a normal, and this is one of those like those low-level average Joe guys. He's just like really. I don't even know his popularity status in high school because he was never in school.
I mean, he was. I think he was troublesome. He was the troublesome young one, right?
Because he had the girl, he had the car, and I mean, he was the youngest of his three siblings. Yeah, he was the youngest, but like, dude was smooth, but he also like he had a nice moral compass about him,
right?
Especially with hanging out with like Doc Brown and like when they, especially like in Back to the Future 3 when they're in the Wild West,
right?
And he's using his knowledge of the future to like fight Western Biff, Mad Dog Tanner, that's his name,
right.
It's just great to see like your quote unquote average Joe just be the hero in the end, knowing.
Well, I mean, like he's consistently at a disadvantage in the universes that he finds himself in,
right? And
like,
I mean,
he's not from there. He doesn't know what the nature of anything is. He doesn't know like the behaviors that he's supposed to do, and like he's just caught off guard
he has to like
the
learn
entire time.
and have to learn how to adapt to the situation,
right?
And learn from it. And I mean, he does
well. So obviously, as a hero does.
Yeah, and those. I would say those are my top 5 underdogs, and I'm happy for them. Jay, how about you?
I can round it out with I think 2 more, and I'm gonna do like you, and I'm gonna pull from I guess a human actor is the best way. I don't want to say like the real world because like that's kind of that's off.
That's a vague
statement. Yeah, that's pretty off. So I'm gonna go with Forrest Gump, man. I think as one of my favorite movies of all time.
That is a true underdog, man.
Yeah. I mean, as they refer to him in the context of the movie, and he's an idiot savant. He's someone that comes from down home Alabama, back road country, doesn't have a father, and ends up a global legend, right? Like he ends up being war hero, ping pong legend, activist that without ever thinking that he was doing activism, father and business owner, right?
Restaurant mogul.
Yeah, like the man ends up having it all despite
not knowing it.
Despite like what he's lacking, right? Or what people would perceive him to be lacking, and it ends up being like a strength of his, right? Like it's never he never has to and I mean, you might want to attribute this to the fact that he was white, but he's able to overcome the adversities that were placed before him, the bullying, the lacking of a father, the mental illness, if you will, and become a legend.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that we can all learn a lesson from to some degree. And whether or not you appreciate the story or the movie itself, I think that there's definitely a higher ethical lesson that is present within that film. And I think that's kind of like my favorite thing about these underdogs. And then pulling from not similarly, but like from that theme, I'm gonna go back to my favorite one of my favorite animes, Dragon Ball Z, and pull Krillin as one of my favorite.
My little baldy with the powers.
Yeah, man. The literal world's strongest human is an underdog, which is fascinating because like that just goes to show to you the company that he keeps, right? Like, I mean, he's around these Saiyans, he's around these aliens, he's around these literal gods, these demigods, and I mean, what does he choose to do in later series but become a cop? He thinks that like he can serve his fellow human better than he can as if he remains a defender of the universe, right? Like that's what he ends up doing, and I think that it's one of the more admirable things about Krillin. Yeah. He also never shies away from a fight. Like he's always there to protect even if he knows that he doesn't measure up, right? Like he's going to be there to defend the Earth, defend his family, and then he also ends up marrying an android 17, who is a villain at a certain point, right? Like, and he like sees the good in her and ends up building a family. And you know, he's also doesn't shy away from the fact that he knows his wife can kick his ass, and he's able to marry a stronger woman.
That man was ahead of his time. Krillin is ahead of his time.
Krillin definitely set a mold, and I think that he continues to set an example as a Z fighter when he is a Z fighter.
Take note, my boys. Don't be scared. Be vulnerable.
Right.
But we can go on and on.
As always, we can go on and on.
And what we're going to do now is take a quick break, and you're going to hear a word from our sponsor, Anchor, and we will be right back with the weekly blurb. Be right back in a sec, guys. And we're back.
Welcome back.
Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for the
weekly blurb. And it is Jeremy's time to go first.
All right. So I know you guys heard me say that I watched the Suicide Squad this past Sunday, and actually a week prior to, I went and saw Jungle Cruise. And I just want to give you a quick little review on it. Spoilers ahead for those who haven't seen it. It is on Disney Plus Premier Access for $30 if you feel like paying that, but you can still go see it in theaters. I would say that Jungle Cruise was a solid family fun action flick. The Rock, he is The Rock, but also in the 1920s, 30s, 40s.
So I feel like that would make him even more of The Rock, right? Like, because it's super campy, it's super
but
dad
also,
jokey.
But also, the thing is, what made this a better film for The Rock is that usually in most films, when it's him and every other person, it's just The Rock's personality, and no one's able to like match up with it.
Okay.
With the exception of like Kevin Hart, but it's like you
Jack
have
Black.
Yeah. But I mean, Jumanji, like those are like those four different personalities.
I hear you.
That are able to come together and make one. You had Emily Blunt, who came in. Those
Love
who don't
her.
know, she John Krasinski's wife. Mary Poppins Returns. Devil Wears Prada. All those things. That's how you know her. Words. But she is she's the main protagonist along with The Rock, and she matches his
joie de vivre, his energy.
Yeah, and that's what kind of boosts his movie up a little more. Yeah, and it works. Yeah, it definitely, like, the comedic timing was perfect. They were able to
someone that I think would be able to match.
She has range.
No doubt.
Seeing her from like, and I mean, this is me kind of seeing her from like Devil Wears Prada to Mary Poppins Returns to She's in the Quiet Place, yes, and the sequel as well. I don't watch scary movies. But in Jungle Cruise as well, it's just like her in Jungle Cruise able to go back and forth with being either the straight man to the funny man.
Okay.
Between her and The Rock and Jack Whitehall, who plays the brother. All three of them, that was just a comedic trio that it just worked perfectly well, and they should
a wonderful compliment to one another.
Yeah,
I haven't checked it out. That's why I'm just listening so intently and not contributing as much.
No, I got you. But like, it's the whole movie, the movie as a whole, and I did say spoilers, but I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers, so I won't ruin it for you. But like, there is a coming out scene for the brother, Jack Whitehall.
Okay.
And this is actually a big move for Disney because he's basically quoting that his uncles and like The Rock. The whole scene goes like The Rock and him are like basically talking to each other, drinking while Emily Blunt, I forgot what she was doing at that time, but they were like fixing the boat and something, and he was just like, why do you keep following her? Because she's this crazy like doc. It's a time where women weren't supposed to be wearing pants and stuff like that.
Right,
so it's like,
right.
why are you following her? She's crazy. She's
Sure.
ahead of her time. Da 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 da. And he was just like, well.
And this is The Rock that's saying this?
Yeah, The Rock is asking that to the brother.
Got it.
And the brother says, well, back in London, I was basically betrothed to a woman,
right.
A very very lovely girl. I wasn't happy because that's not who I wanted to be. Basically, that's not who I wanted to be with.
Yeah.
He said I wanted to be betrothed. Like he said, it was along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing. He went like my business lies elsewhere. Is what he.
Okay.
That's kind of what he says. It's
Okay.
along those lines.
Okay.
And The Rock just looked at him and was like, "Your business lies elsewhere," and he was just like, "My business." And The Rock just looks at him and goes, "To business." and he was just like, and he's saying that his uncle and his whole family, the society was basically just going to kick him out, but the only person who still loved him and accepted him was his sister, and he said, "I will follow her into a volcano."
That's amazing.
And that whole scene was
sad but amazing.
Yeah, it was a powerful scene, and
it's nice to know that, okay, that's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's.
I wish it was a bit more explicit. But
Disney's getting
but
there.
it's also like timely, right?
It is timely, and Disney is getting there. I mean, they did take a bigger step from Beauty and the Beast, where LeFou was staring gazingly into the eyes of a random dude at the end of the movie. That's all you got. To this conversation had between two gentlemen, and them being fine with it. It's basically Disney was like, "You happy now?" But the next, as a whole, if I had to rate this movie out of 10, I would give it a 7.
Yeah,
and I mean it's a great movie. You should definitely go see it. It's like I said, it's a family fun adventure.
Right.
Nice action sequences from Emily Blunt, from The Rock.
Some thrilling things based off of a ride.
Yeah, and it if you have been on a ride at Disney World or Disneyland, you will see where there's a whole section. Yeah, there's a whole section where he basically does his own version of the Jungle Cruise ride, and it's funny. And go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I recommend seeing it. Like I said,
I'm bitter about this movie, but I'm going to check it out.
You are bitter about this movie. That's why I had to watch it without you, so I can have my qualms about it and let you know. And
no, I completely understand that.
Check it out. If you don't want to watch it on the Premier Access, go check it out at your local movie theater. Sponsor us.
While you can, until the Delta variant shuts everything down again.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, but that's my weekly blurb. Jay, what you got for us today?
Man, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant today, and I'm excited because, bro, it's a proud rant.
We going on a rant today.
It's a proud rant. It's a proud rant to say that the weebs are among us, and we should be proud of our weebiness. Because, frankly, I think that I have gotten to see a evolution and what adulting may look like, and what role models may look like, and what compared to what our parents and our grandparents portrayed as like adulthood, right, and like proper adulthood. I spent a fair amount of time watching the Olympics this year, and it's over, and there was a lot of excitement. But the thing that got me the most jacked is the elements of weeb culture that I got to see throughout it.
I have seen a few pictures of
you've seen it on social media, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a Naruto and Sakura. I've seen a Jiraiya.
Okay.
I've seen members of the Akatsuki.
Right. Oh yeah. Like what's his name? There's this like UFC fighter that's out there that loves Naruto, and he says that he loves Naruto, and he watches nothing but anime.
And
he ends up in a lineup that he does. He ends up like doing the Rock Lee stance, and I think that it serves as almost a turning point, man. I can wear a Naruto t-shirt out in public, and people give me compliments on it because it's
ashamed.
Exactly. And I mean, like, there was definitely a period of time when adults could not be seen or chose not to be seen wearing these kinds of t-shirts or apparel, if you will, merch, and not feel judged for it. Yeah. But now it seems like, I mean, when you have Olympic athletes literally doing the signs from Attack on Titan, like the Attack on Titan salute, or you got entire gymnast teams wearing the Avatar Nation like symbols,
the 4 nation symbols
on their uniforms, and they're ingrained in like gyms and crap. I think that it speaks to where or really how our generation has been influenced by anime, cartoons, weeb culture, so to speak, nerd culture, so speak. Let's go. I think that it's I find it empowering, and I hope that everybody else finds it empowering, because I think that there's a lot there within our
blerdiness, there's a lot of mental illness. And I think that a lot of that comes from shame. I think that a lot of that comes from a society that repressed that kind of expression for so long, right? And for me, when we get to be seen through these lenses that are more acceptable, right? Like, I mean, like, to think that like a windsurfer would dress up
have his head shaved like
with a head shaved like Aang, and I mean, and then like go on a international broadcast and have that on display. I think that it provides a space. It creates a space, and that's kind of the thing that I'm getting at is like I think that weebiness is now. Right, like weebiness is, I mean, probably, and then from my opinion, hopefully for the foreseeable future, because I think that there are such issues with shame in our culture, and I think that those kinds of things that impact your mental health need to be lessened. And when you have like leaders and Olympians of all people, like the best of the best, like representing those folks that were effectively moving in that direction, and that just makes me really happy. It brings me joy, and I hope it brings everybody else joy.
Yeah. Weebs now, weebs forever.
Exactly.
Yes.
Weebs yesterday, weebs today, weebs forever.
We did hand signs if you didn't see. Well, you couldn't see because it's a podcast. But we appreciate you for listening.
Yeah.
And we love that you guys listen to us every week. And remember to follow us on all of our social media platforms, wherever you may listen. On Facebook at Blerd Survival Guide, on Instagram at Blerd Survival Guide, on Twitter at Blerd Guide, and you can even email us at blerdsurvivalguide@gmail.com. You can even follow our personals at JBear3295
and at JDub0283.
And other than that, guys, keep
surviving, everybody.
Listen to the theme song.
Two guys and a mic with our producer, stepping into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
It's the Blerd Survival Guide. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.